Tipp today in association with Slattery's of Pecan, your main Peugeot dealer for over 50 years in the Premier County. Slattery'sGarage.ie.
Good morning, welcome along to Tipp Today, 1800 938 007, our free phone number if you want to speak to Leanne. And she's producing today. Coming up on the show this morning, our sports editor Paul Carroll will review the weekend sporting action in just a few moments' time. A Catholic priest will share a warning that woke culture has not disappeared. The latest update on Grant's Hotel in Roscrea. The crime prevention officer for the county, John McCormick, will be with us live in studio. Thomas Conway has all of the global news, so all of that and much, much more on the way. You can text on WhatsApp 083 311 3311. You can email tiptoday@tippfm.com. Great prize for you this week on Tipp Today. We have a treat for one lucky couple, an overnight stay for two at the Talbot Hotel in Clonmel. Now it comes with full Irish breakfast and access to their award-winning leisure facilities. It's all part of the wedding extravaganza weekend. This coming weekend, Saturday the 21st and Sunday the 22nd. Check out the hotel's stunning wedding spaces. And don't miss the exclusive pop-up bridal sale from My Dress Bridalwear in Carrick-on-Shore. We'll pick a qualifier every day this week and announce the winner on Friday. So you can begin right now. All you have to do is text Talbot along with your name and your details to 083 311 3311. That's Talbot to 083 311 3311. And the very best of luck to you. Let's have a look at what's making front pages today. To the Irish Times first. The big focus this morning is on justice and immigration. The paper leads with reporting on arrests of foreign nationals ahead of planned deportation flights, and how this is contributing to pressure on our prison system, with overcrowding now an issue in some facilities. Other national concerns on the front pages include political and societal headlines from housing and health to education, and indeed memorials today as well. Across the way then to the Independent, and the emphasis is on crime and public safety. Its lead figures point to hundreds of people arrested for drink driving and drug offences, many of them repeat offenders, sparking fresh debate, as you can imagine, on enforcement and indeed rehabilitation. The Irish Examiner, the Examiner's front page, puts the spotlight on education policy. Ministers are being asked to explain planned significant reductions in support for special education resources amid warnings of a widening crisis in school provision for pupils with additional needs. Finally, we have a look at the Irish Daily Mail, and the Mail is leading with a major legal and infrastructure concern because government fears that new roads and other major projects could be jeopardised after a Supreme Court ruling on climate change laws. Now, it's prompting questions, as you can imagine, about how environmental commitments intersect with economic development. So that's a look at what's making headlines today. If you'd like to make comment on any of that, we'd be glad to hear from you. Once again, you can text and WhatsApp 083 311 3311. And now it's been a busy weekend in sport. I'm glad to be joined as usual on a Monday by our sports editor Paul Carroll. Good morning to you, Paul.
Morning, friend. How are you?
I'm well indeed. Good to talk to you today. Tipperary beaten by Carlow in the National Football League, Paul.
Yeah, that was yesterday in Semple Stadium in Thurles. A disappointing one now for Tipperary because they'd been unbeaten in their first two games. They had a draw and a win, and they're going up against Carlow, who had won their first two games. So this was pretty much a top of the table clash in Division 4. And Tip were up by 6 points at half time, but there was a fair breeze in Thurles yesterday that Carlow were playing with in the second half. And the first 20 minutes of the second half, Tipperary failed to score. Carlow brought it back to a point, and then Carlow pushed ahead and got ahead in the game. Tipperary did spring a comeback in the last 10 minutes, got a couple of scores, but just couldn't get the levelling score. 11 wides for Tipperary compared to just 4 for Carlow. And also a penalty from Shawnee O'Connor that Ben McCarron, the Carlow goalkeeper, saved really well. So a disappointing defeat for Tipperary, but they were right there the whole way through. Still a very young team, a couple of lads making debuts again yesterday. So I suppose you kind of have to expect that with young players, that sometimes it's just not going to be their day. And yesterday was a frustrating one, though. As I said, the 11 wides to 4 count and missed opportunities for Tipperary, so they don't have long to lick the wounds. They're back out next Sunday against Longford, but just a bit of a frustrating one that they come away from yesterday's game without any points at all.
You have some school results as well, I think, Paul, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, Abbey CBS on Friday evening. We're in the Munster Under-19B football final. So the weekend before, we saw Clonmel High School in the A final. So brilliant to have Tipperary teams in these Munster schools football finals. Abbey CBS and Tipp Town were playing Mount St Michael of Rosscarbery from Cork. It was on the outside pitch in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, the all-weather pitch, and really close game, 7 points apiece in injury time. And then Mount St Michael's substitute, Dylan O'Neill, scored a point with the last kick of the game to win it by a point. So 1 point defeat, 8 points to 7 for Abbey CBS. So disappointing result there, but as I said, always good to have Tipperary teams competing at the back end of these schools competitions.
Better result for our Camogie team, our senior Camogie team.
Yeah, they had an incredibly long journey, Fran, up to 5 miles outside Cushendall and Cushendoon outside at the north coast of Antrim. So I think I looked at it, it's 400 kilometres from the Rag where the Camogie team trains. So incredibly long trip. I know some people, Jordan Canaan, Kevin Hanley made the trip on the one day, but the team went up on Friday. And the game got underway at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and they beat Antrim 219 to 19 points. Goals from Niamh Tracy and Cueva Stakelum. Cueva Stakelum, a 6-year student in Ursuline Thurles, so playing with the Tipperary senior Camogie team, an exciting prospect, and she got a goal. I think she scored 1-4 from play, so we would have seen her with the Tipperary minor team in recent years, but she really kind of lit it up in the county championship as well this year, scoring a hat-trick in the final for Thurles Sarsfields against Cloughty Rossmore. So a very exciting prospect for Tipperary Camogie, and she's up and running with 1-4 in her senior debut. So a brilliant win, first win over new manager James Heffernan. They're back in action next weekend against Kilkenny, so they'll be happy that it's a little bit closer to home than the very north coast of Antrim. And also the minor Camogie team were in action over the weekend on Sunday in Feathertown Park. After a really good win on the first round, they were unfortunately beaten by Kilkenny 3-14 to 9 points, but that is a group stage game, so they'll be back out in next weekend or the weekend after.
You mentioned the Ursuline there, and the good times keep coming for the Ursuline in Thurles, Paul.
Yeah, last weekend, before the Saturday and Sunday just gone by, they qualified for the Senior A All-Ireland Schools Camogie Final. Now they've qualified for the Junior A, so the younger age grade Schools Camogie Final. They beat St Patrick's of Mahra from Derry in the Junior A All-Ireland semi-final over the weekend. 1-4 to 4 points was the full-time score. The game was played in Lockmore Castleini's GA grounds. Mel Flannery was the one to get the goal to separate the sides. So 1-4 to 4 points. So an All-Ireland Senior and Junior Camogie finals coming up in the next few weeks for the Ursuline. So a big couple of weeks coming for them.
The college finals, of course, and lots of Tipperary interest there, Paul.
Yeah, we had the Sigerson Cup, obviously, last Wednesday, so a bit back now, but David Power managing the team in UL, and a UL team sprinkled with 7 Tipperary players throughout their squad, including Charlie King and Dahi Hogan, who played in Croke Park and beat UCC for UL. So that's a first ever Sigerson Cup title for UL, so huge Tipperary involvement there. Also in the Fitzgibbon Cup, so the hurling on Friday, we had a lot of Tipperary players on either side for both UL and Mary I, but it was UL who got the win there. Darren McCarthy, Oisin O'Donoghue involved, Aaron Morgan from Killerone McDonough's, and you also had Jamie Ormond, Max Hackett there from Icarkey Burris, and Conor Martin from Cap White got on in the second half as well. So big Tipperary involvement there. And also over the weekend, the Ryan Cup, so this is kind of the second tier of college hurling. MIC Thurles got all the way to the final, so the semi-final was played on the Friday, the final played on the Saturday. Unfortunately, they were beaten by TU Dublin 3-24 to 3-13, but brilliant for MIC Thurles to get to the final, and they'll be in a new tier next year called Fitzgibbon 1, so it's basically the second tier again, but it's just a new competition kind of squeezed in there. So they're going to be playing at another high grade next year, MIC Thurles. So fair play to them.
Fair play indeed to rugby then in Ireland, back to winning ways in the Six Nations.
Yeah, back to winning ways, friend, but you wouldn't say it was overly convincing. They beat Italy 20 points to 13. A real hard-fought victory. Robert Balakoon with a try and Jack Conan with the tries for Ireland. But yeah, it was one of those games we're all just kind of happy that Ireland won it and we can move on. But it wasn't overly convincing. It was a good win nonetheless. But yeah, you're just still not... You still feel the team hasn't found their feet just yet in this competition. Now they go to Twickenham next Saturday to play England, so they'll have to be in gear for that one. But overall, you know, maybe trying different things. The team isn't set. You know, I couldn't sit here and tell you Ireland's best team right now is this and name out the 1 to 15. There's a lot of figuring out going on for Andy Farrell and the management team for Ireland in a number of positions. The front row, the scrum was particularly poor against Italy, really poor, really. They got completely destroyed in the scrum. And, you know, even the 9 and 10, particularly the 10 position, with the never-ending Jack Crowley, Sam Prendergast debate. That's kind of roaring on. Sam Prendergast got the start on Saturday, but really had a poor game against Italy. And when Jack Crowley came on, done much better. So you'd think the advantage is with him going into the England game. But yeah, lots to figure out for Andy Farrell. And yeah, they're back out in action next Saturday, so it's a quick turnaround. The Ireland under-20s were in action on Friday evening. They beat Italy 30 points to 27. Lots of Tipperary involvement on that under-20s Ireland team. Rob Kearney, Joe Finn and Billy Hayes were all involved, and of course Tom Wood, who's the son of Keith Wood, is just over the border in Killaloo there. So lots of local interest there in that Ireland under-20s team.
To soccer then, what happened in local soccer over the weekend, Paul?
Yeah, there's still a lot of games being postponed, friend. Weather, obviously, and wet pitches. But the matches that did go ahead over the weekend, the TSDL Premier League, Saturday evening, St Michael's beat Kerr Park 2-0. So St Michael's closing the gap there on Peak Villa at the top of the table. Two Burris had a 3-2 win on Sunday against Clonmel Town in the NTNDL Premier Division. Just one game, Moneygall 9, Holy Cross 0, so a very one-sided win there for Moneygall. But yeah, weather kind of really affecting games at this time of the year, Fran, as you can imagine.
For sure. And in terms of what we can look forward to then, Paul?
Yeah, very busy week to come. So next Saturday we've Tipperary against Limerick. That's at 5:30 in Semple Stadium in the National Hurling League. And even after that, the Tipperary Supporters Club are holding their Night of the Dogs in the Thurles Greyhound Stadium. I think that gets underway at 7 or 7:30 in the Thurles Greyhound Stadium on Saturday. So if you're heading down to the Tip versus Limerick game, that could be something you want to call into after. Then on Sunday, the Tip footballers make the trip up to Pearse Park in Longford to take on Longford in Division 4 of the National Football League. The All-Ireland Senior Camogie Finals, Schools Camogie Finals are taking place, so the Ursuline Thurles are in that Senior A final, and Closh de Ver, Carrick on Shore are in the B final. Those are next Saturday. Still waiting for official fixtures on those. I mentioned the Tip Senior Camogie team take on Kilkenny, and also next weekend the Tip Ladies Footballers take on Monaghan, so they're back in action. And then on Saturday at 2:10 we've Ireland versus England. So it's one of those weekends next weekend that you get this time of the year where you've league games, you've Premier League going on, you've Six Nations going on, one of those feet up in front of the fire watching the sport on the telly for the day, that kind of weekend. It's certainly one of them next weekend.
Well, it sounds good to me. Thanks very much indeed, Paul. Thank you. Good morning to you. That's our sports editor, Paul Carroll, speech was there from our Nina studio, and forgive us there for the slight delay on the line. Over the last few weeks we've been speaking about alcohol. We've been speaking about the dangers of alcohol and one thing and another. It's interesting to read, though, that bar sales in Leinster House increased by 34% to nearly, wait for it, €445,000 last year, with current or former TDs and senators knocking back shots of tequila and sambuca, along with €27 measures of premium whiskey. Can you believe? Politicians racked up almost 60,000 on their tabs during the year in the Parliament's two pubs, the Visitors' Bar and the Members' Bar, exclusively for current or former Oireachtas members. But there you go, it's an interesting one. How do you feel about that? Talk to Leanne, 1800 938 007, or text and WhatsApp 083 311 3311.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puck On. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, Puck On. See slatterysgarage.ie.